The officer wounds are said to be non-life-threatening, but one of the others shot is dead. We'll have a live report from the scene. The Taliban is claiming responsibility for killing 10 civilian medical workers in Afghanistan. New Yorker Elena Kagan is sworn in as the 112th Justice of the Supreme Court. Fidel Castro is back on the Cuban political scene with a speech to Parliament. In sports, the Phillies 1-0. Yankees beat the Red Sox 5-2. WCBS News Time, 6:31. Our top story this morning, two police officers among 5 people who have been shot in Harlem. There is one person dead. We get the latest now from Jim Solo live at the scene.
John, this all happened sometime between 2:30 and 3 o'clock this morning. One person is dead. Family members identify him as Luis Soto. 4 other people are wounded, 2 of those police officers. It's unclear yet how this unfolded, but people in the neighborhood say there were people still out in the early morning hours after being out Saturday night. Apparently there was some sort of altercation, and people say they heard shots fired, saw people running. One local bodega owner says people ran into his store screaming. One officer was shot in the chest but was wearing a bulletproof vest and is in stable condition. The other officer is being treated for a grazed wound to the hand. Both of them are at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. We have no word yet on the 2 other people who are wounded. From 145th and Lenox, Jenny Cosola, WCBS 880 News.
WCBS News Time, 6:32. The Taliban is claiming responsibility for killing 10 civilian medical workers, 6 of them Americans, in the northeastern part of Afghanistan. They had hiked for more than 10 hours over rugged mountains, unarmed and without security, to bring medical care to isolated Afghan villagers until their humanitarian mission took a tragic turn. CBS News correspondent Sam Litzinger reports.
Liz Chandler was a friend of one of the victims, Dr. Karen Wu from London.
She's a surgeon, so she's always into helping people, and that was her main priority. And for this to happen, it is just shocking the way it's happened.
Dirk Franz, Executive Director of the International Assistance Mission, the organization the volunteers work with, he says he hopes it can continue helping Afghan civilians.
It will, of course, badly impact our team, the Afghan staff, the expatriates, because it's really demoralizing.
Franz says there was no justification for killing people who were only trying to do good in Afghanistan. Sam Litzinger, CBS News.
3 NATO service members, at least 2 of them American, have been killed in recent attacks in southern Afghanistan. All 3 died yesterday, making a total of 5 NATO deaths Saturday. The 2 identified as Americans died in an insurgent attack. The 3rd was killed by a bomb blast. Elena Kagan was sworn in yesterday as the 112th Justice and 4th woman ever to serve on the Supreme Court.
I'm Tom Foti in Washington. For the first time in history, a 3rd of the U.S. Supreme Court is now comprised of justices.
I, Elena Kagan, do solemnly swear
that I will administer justice without respect to persons.
that I will administer justice without respect to persons,
And do equal right to the poor and to the rich.
and do equal right to the poor and to the rich.
With the completion of that oath by Chief Justice John Roberts, former Harvard Law School Dean Elena Kagan joined Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor on the High Court.
On behalf of my colleagues, welcome to the court. We look forward to serving with you in our common cause.
Tom Foti, CBS News, Washington.
CBS News Time, 6:34. A Russian spy sent back to Russia now wants to... Sent home to Russia in a highly publicized spy swap. He now wants to return with his wife to her native Peru while continuing to live under the false name he used for 34 years. His wife, Vicky Pelaez, is a Peruvian-born former columnist for the Spanish-language New York City newspaper El Diario La Prensa. Lazaro's Russian name is Mikhail Basenkov, but for decades he had claimed he was born in Uruguay as Juan Lazaro before moving to Peru, where he met Pelaez. The man's lawyer says his client is truly Juan Lazaro. He's not from Russia and doesn't speak Russian. Lively and healthy-looking Fidel Castro appeared before the Cuban parliament yesterday, marking his first public appearance in 4 years. His brother Raul, who has assumed a leadership role in Cuba, standing nearby. The leader of the Cuban Revolution, who turns 84 next week, disappeared from the public eye after emergency surgery 4 years ago. CBS News senior national security analyst Juan Zarate says the real aim behind Castro's re-entrance on the public stage remains to be seen.
There's key questions as to whether or not his appearance is really a signal to reaffirm the old